So definitely use that chat. If you have any issues along the way, we're checking our Instagrams and our emails as we do this. So you could reach out via email or Instagram too.
Just going to give everybody a minute because I messed you all up. I'm so sorry. Okay, it looks like everybody's here. If someone else wants to join in, then we'll get them started. Oh. Okay, we're going to introduce ourselves now and get started with the presentation. I'll let Katie go first.
Good morning. I am Katie Dickerson, otherwise known as Dietitian Katie on Instagram. I am a bariatric dietitian. I've been specializing in weight loss surgery nutrition my whole career. I actually graduated from college in 2010 with a degree in nutrition and dietetics. In 2011, I did a dietetic internship, which is where I got my first experience working with bariatric patients. That's actually where I met one of the surgeons that I ended up working with for a while. But I have worked with over 20 bariatric surgeons across New York and New Jersey, very high volume surgeons. So I have been just so blessed to work really with thousands of people. At the busiest point in my career before I had kids, I was working with about 100 people a month, which was amazing. But my kids are 3 and 4 now. It's a lot. So I've cut back a little bit. I am running my virtual practice, which you've probably seen from my Instagram. I'm working with about 10 patients a week, which is still about 40 people a month. So really cool. I'm very grateful for that. And then aside from that, like I said, I'm a mom and I like the typical dietitian things. I love cooking. I love grocery shopping. I love being active. Yoga is one of my favorite exercises, of course, aside from strength training. And I am just really excited to be here with you this morning and to be here with my little sister.
Yes, so I'm Jenna and I am a certified personal trainer through the American Council on Exercise. I consider myself a bariatric exercise specialist, all thanks to Katie. But yeah, so I work specifically with bariatric surgery patients, anybody who is pre-op, post-op, even just years down the line, because you guys know this is a lifelong journey. So, but in the past, I've worked with everybody, all kinds of people, busy moms, NFL cheerleaders, all kinds of people for 10 years now. Both of us have been in this for 10 years. It's been a long time. But when I'm not working out, which is a lot, I'm either hiking, again, being active. I love to read and hang out with my dogs specifically.
You help me a lot with my kids too, so I appreciate that.
I was going to say, me and Katie spend Saturday mornings together. Usually we just don't do anything like this, but today it's good that we get to finally talk about this and do something together.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Jenna became a personal trainer about the same time I became a dietitian. And when I started working with bariatric patients, I noticed that they just weren't being treated that well at gyms. A lot of personal trainers were just putting them on treadmills because they really didn't know how to work with them. And so right away, I started referring all my bariatric patients and clients to Jenna.
Yeah, she invited me to a bariatric support group, like I think a month or so after I became a certified personal trainer. So I got introduced to bariatric surgery right away. And it was just great. They were eager to learn. They were just kind and it was just a great experience. So I've been working with bariatric patients ever since. And just in general, me and Katie have just in health and fitness and all, you could see there's a picture of us with mud all over our face. I cut we have a little brother and I cut him out of both of the pictures, but we ran the Warrior Dash. I think that was like 2013.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It was a long time ago, but we've been doing all kinds of things together. Best friends.
Yeah, no, I really am grateful. I care so much about my patients. A lot of you are here. You know how invested I am and how passionate I am. So it's so nice for me to be able to refer you to Jenna because I trust her. So it's a really great relationship we have.
It is. And I'm really excited about this today because everybody always asks me about nutrition and I'm sure they ask her about exercise and we like to know our lanes. As you guys know, there's so many kinds of fitness professionals out there or diet professionals, and it can be confusing where to go. So I think it's good to have both perspectives. I stay with exercise, she stays with diet. We don't really mess around with either or the other. And I think it's going to be a good talk.
Yes.
I'm just going to check the chat, make sure you guys are all good. Aw, Marjorie, we love you. Okay, so let's get into it. But first things first, talk to your doctor, your surgeon. your bariatric team, everybody that you know, before trying anything that we recommend in this presentation. And it's important that you always get medical clearance from your doctor, from your PCP or from your surgeon, really depending on how far out you are from surgery.
Yeah, we have a lot of people on all different parts of their journey in this group. We have people that literally just had surgery, also people who are 7 to 10 years post-op. So even in regards to some of the diet things that I'm going to talk about today, some of these recommendations may not be appropriate for you.
So yeah, like always, it's just always good to be super cautious. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I've been exercising for this long, I don't need to talk to my doctor. And like, honestly, if you know that you don't have to, you're probably in the clear, but we always recommend just talking to your doctor just to make sure that everything is all good, especially if you have a condition or an injury. If you had an ankle injury in the past and things are still a little weird for you, definitely talk to your doctor if you're going to try something new.
All right. So did you know that a percentage of weight loss post-op bariatric surgery is actually muscle? So this is a fact. Unfortunately, during that first year, even year and a half after surgery, when you are rapidly losing weight, there is potential and probability for some muscle loss. If you've worked with me post-op, you know that I'm so annoying about protein shakes and starting exercise as soon as the surgeon clears you. And that is largely in part to preserve your lean mass. So the first year, year and a half, we want to preserve as much lean mass as we possibly can. It's really essential to find ways to maintain and build muscle. And that's what we're really going to be focusing on and talking about today.
But it's a lot harder than you think. So we're going to be talking about exercise and diet specifically, which honestly varies so much anyway. It's person by person, but there's so many other lifestyle changes or just lifestyle factors that go into building muscle. Specifically two that come to mind are sleep and stress. So if you're not sleeping well, and if you're stressed like crazy, the exercise and the diet that you do it's not going to be as beneficial to you. If you're lacking in one, honestly, you're lacking in all of them. Especially sleep. Poor sleep you're going to have poor performance. A big thing that a lot of my clients struggle with is energy and just like feeling fatigue and feeling weak. And I always ask them, like, how was your sleep? I actually read a study that on average, if people slept like 5 to 6 hours a night, they lost, I think, 60% of their muscle. But if they slept for 8 hours a night, you gain 40% of your muscle. So that's a huge difference. And then if Katie wants to talk a little about stress and cortisol, I think that is a big thing as well when it comes to lifestyle.
Yes, cortisol is actually a fat storage hormone. So the more stressed you are, the more cortisol you have, the more likely you are going to be to store fat. So we could spend the entire presentation talking about the lifestyle stuff, and maybe we'll do that one day where we just really get into sleep and stress. But we want to start by saying, aside from diet and exercise, managing sleep and stress is going to be really important as well.
You got to balance it all.
Yes.
And hydration.
Oh, we'll
I
get
guess
to
it's part of diet. But
yeah, so we're going to teach you hopefully everything you need to know today. We're going to try to make it quick. We're going to try to keep it around 2 hours. I understand it's Saturday. You probably have stuff to do. So if you have to sign out for any reason, you can sign in and out. We are going to send you the entire recording and all the slides when we're done. So don't worry about that.
yes.
So Jenna's going to talk about exercise today, of course, and then I'm going to talk about nutrition. But before we talk about that, really important that we bring up body composition. So basically everything that we're talking today is in regards to body composition. Body composition is essentially what you're made of, what your body is made of. It basically refers to the percent of your body that is fat and the percent of your body that is muscle. Bone is also calculated into that as well, but we're going to really focus on fat and muscle. So obviously, to be healthy, we want a lower percent body fat and we want higher percent lean mass. So this is called body composition. When you are trying to build muscle, this is honestly the best way to measure your progress. The scale is not a good way to measure your progress because the scale does not measure lean mass or muscle tissue. And this is why BMI is not so accurate. You know, BMI is huge in bariatrics. We use it a lot. And it definitely has its place, but it does not help with measuring body composition or telling us how much muscle we have. So a lot of times, people take BMI with a grain of salt. For example, you might have a BMI of 27, but a very low body fat percentage, and you might be very muscular, which is actually good. In that case, we wouldn't really care if your BMI is in the overweight or obese category, because the body composition is actually a better indicator of your health. So the unfortunate thing with body composition, it's not so easy to measure. It's not obviously as affordable or as available as just a traditional scale. That might be me. I don't know how to use this.
I messed up. There you go.
So before you get started with building muscle, I would have your body composition tested if you can, just so you have that starting point. Like I said, there's a few ways to measure it, not as accessible or as affordable. One of the really easy ways, though, is called bioelectrical impedance, and your gym probably has that scale available to you if you ask. If you've ever seen it before, a lot of them are handheld scales. Basically, they send just a very low electric current through your body to measure your muscle, to measure your water percentage, and to measure your fat. Some of the scales too you can stand on, and you'll see those are the scales that have like stainless steel that you'd stand on those scales to measure you. So it's either something that you hold or a scale that you step on that basically tells you your body fat percentage. Other ways to measure are traditional fat calipers, but lots of room for human error there. And then there's something really cool, which I've been talking about in my Facebook support group, a DEXA scan, which is expensive if you don't have insurance coverage for it. But if you're over 40, you might have insurance coverage for a DEXA scan, because DEXA scan is also measuring your bone. So it's one of the indicators for osteoporosis, but it also tells you your body fat percentage and your lean mass, which is really cool. So if you could figure out how to get your body composition measured, I would do that, because as you're working to build muscle, again, you might not necessarily see those changes on the scale. The important thing that I want you to understand as well, if you can flip to this slide with the photos, a big myth is that muscle weighs more than fat. So a lot of times, especially my women clients, get nervous to try to build muscle because they think muscle weighs more than fat, because that's something kind of just floating out there. It's not actually true. 5 pounds is 5 pounds. And in fact, muscle is much more dense. So muscle takes up a lot less space than fat would. So you could be 150 pounds with a 30% body fat and look entirely different 150 pounds with an 18% body fat, but you could be the same weight. So like I said, perhaps maybe ditching the scale or not focusing on the scale so much when you're trying to build muscle, going to measure your body composition is going to be super helpful.
Yes. So now that you see that lovely picture of a muscle, I'm going to talk a little bit about them. Muscles 101. I got this straight out of my personal training textbooks, but there are over 600 muscles in your body, which is pretty wild to think. I actually saw a study that said there might be over 800. So muscles do literally everything for you. They help you run, jump, and even like sew a needle, smile, laugh, breathe, everything. If you had no muscles, you wouldn't be able to do anything. Like I said, they're just involved in just about every little thing that you can think. And we have 3 main types of muscle. We have skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. So the main one we're going to be talking about today is skeletal muscle, which I just found out that skeletal muscle makes up 30 to 40% of your entire body, which is a lot. So when you think about your whole body, 30 to 40% of it is straight muscle. And those are the muscles that you control. Skeletal muscle you control. So every time you move, do all those kinds of things, that's you doing it that. But then we have 2 other types, which work completely on their own, thank goodness, because we wouldn't be able to be alive if we didn't have smooth or cardiac muscle. Smooth muscle is the muscle that's inside your organs, like your bladder, your stomach. So when you have to use the bathroom and you're holding it because you have to wait, thank your muscles, because you wouldn't be able to hold it if you didn't have muscles. Digesting food, and when your body digests it, it goes through your system, all of your muscles are working to get it out of your body. And then cardiac muscle, which main muscle in your body, most important one, is your heart. It pumps blood. The cardiac muscle helps your blood pump to your heart. And you need that. So they play a role in every system and function that makes you, you. And now I'm going to go right into exercise. So we're going to talk right about all about exercise. I'm going to be talking for a while. I might have Katie jump in a little bit just because there's some things obviously, but then, so I'm going to talk for a while and then Katie's